Hey, this is Seattle Eats, a food podcast from KUOW and the Seattle Times. I'm Claire McGrain, Seattle Eats producer. Our intrepid host, Tan Vinh, is out of the office this week, so we are sharing an episode from our sister podcast at KUOW. It's called Meet Me Here, and it's all about getting out into the city and enjoying local arts and culture. A few weeks ago, the Meet Me Here team explored pinball in Seattle. Apparently, we are a center for the pinball renaissance that is taking hold, and that is in part because of Seattle's bar scene. A lot of the pinball machines around here are inside local bars or casual food spots, and we have a few barcades. These are bars where the whole point is to play arcade games and pinball and have a drink. One of my favorite spots is Jupiter in Belltown, which we will learn more about in this episode. So enjoy this taste of Meet Me Here and tune in next week for more Seattle Eats.
Hey there, welcome to Meet Me Here, your weekly guide to arts and culture events worth leaving your house for. I'm Dyer Oxley, and that means we're talking about pop culture this week. Did you know that we are living in a pinball renaissance across the Northwest right now? There is a thriving pinball community all around you, and you might not realize it. If you want proof of that, well, pinheads far and wide flock each June to the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, which this year is June 6th through the 8th at the Tacoma Convention Center. I highly recommend you give it a try. So in light of that event, I forced my two co-hosts, Katie Campbell and Jeannie Yandel, to join me for a friendly game of pinball at one of Seattle's most popular pinball hotspots, the Icebox. I wanted to introduce them to this thriving community, but also because they gave me this really weird look when I told them that pinball is really hot right now and it's this whole scene. I wanted to show them why it's such a good time and, allow them to take in some pinball vibes, some pinball ambiance. After that, I'm going to speak with two local pinheads. And yeah, I said that again. Pinheads is what a lot of pinball enthusiasts call themselves. We're going to get their take on why pinball has become so popular around here and why it's a great way to make lifelong friends and buck the Seattle freeze. So like I said, in the spirit of the upcoming Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, I convinced my co-host, Jeannie Yandel and Katie Campbell, to join me over at the Icebox Arcade, which is in that Ballard area in Seattle, if you know what I mean. It's kind of that Fremont, but it's also kind of Ballard area. We played a couple games, and then I explained to them why pinball has become increasingly popular in the Seattle area over about the last 10 years or so. When I told you about pinball in a meeting, you had given me this kind of perplexed look. And it's not unique because it's the look I get from everybody when I say that pinball is a thing. Wow. We are living in a sort of renaissance of pinball. We have been for a number of years now after a very dead era of pinball. Huh. And so folks seem a little bit confused. So let me ask you this. What are your perceptions of pinball at this point?
I thought as a real thing that people went out and seeking out, I thought that was long gone. I just associate pinball with barcades where I go, I have a drink, you just kind of have a little retro evening. I go to Add-A-Ball a lot, and it used to just be mostly pinball. Now they have other games, and I honestly usually play the other games.
Jeannie, what about you?
Once I had a kid, we would go to the ice cream shop Full Tilt, which I'm still so sad that it's closed, and RIP to the founder, but they had a ton of pinball games. So I had the delightful experience of watching my 6-year-old mess around with pinball machines, and ask questions about who the people were on the games. She learned about Indiana Jones through a pinball machine at a Full Tilt, which was awesome.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
So you're touching upon something here of where these machines are located. Seattle ranks second in the United States, second in the world in terms of the number of places you can go find a pinball machine, but also the number of pinball machines in this area.
Oh, wow.
Because you can go practically anywhere in this city. You will not be far from a pinball machine. You'll also not be far from a place that has tournaments. So there's tournaments, there's league play, there's teams.
Wait, you're saying this is like a growing industry?
Yes.
Okay. Would not have guessed that.
So after the 90s, video games knocked down all the interest in pinball.
Totally.
Right? So in the 90s is really when home video games kind of came about, right?
Well, and punks like me went to Street Fighter at the arcade instead of the pinball machine. So I ruined the pinball industry.
It was Mortal Kombat for me.
Oh,
so
yeah. Well,
sorry, Mom and Dad. The interest in pinball went down in Seattle. There were certain establishments like Shorty's. They were the only ones who really kept this scene alive, if you can call it a scene at that point. At some point, that seed started to sprout, and that would be in around 2010 or so, and just interest started booming in Seattle and Portland.
The first thing that came to my head was like the Portlandia theme song, like the dream of the 90s is alive in Portland. What is it about like Seattle and Portland that you think brought it back? Is it just that like we're kind of prone to that 90s nostalgia?
I think that might be one nail to hit on the head. The other thing is I think we're just kind of nerds.
Yeah.
Someone once told me that we're the indoor kids in this area. And so that's why we have really great DIY bands. That's why we have, that's why Dungeons and Dragons is based out of here. All these like gaming culture things. Yeah. Like I said, when I went to Hawaii, when I went to LA, I could not really find too many pinball places. I could find like one shop here, one shop there. But you come here, and we have over 590 machines in this city alone for me to choose from. If I'm anywhere in the city, I can bring out my pinball map, and I can find out. That's just Seattle.
That's awesome.
This was the best work meeting I've had.
It's really good.
In my entire career.
So you heard me mention in that conversation that the Belltown bar Shorty's, it's kind of the bar that kept pinball alive in Seattle during a time when pinball was nearly dead. Fun fact, I also proposed to my wife there. It's also the place where Dwayne Collins discovered the local pinball community when he moved to Seattle around 2010 or so, and he just got sucked in. Today, he organizes pinball tournaments at Jupiter, near Shorty's. He is also the admin for the Washington State Pinheads Facebook group, where he gets people to come out to these Belltown pinball hotspots. But also joining for this conversation is Ashley Weaver, who hosts pinball tournaments at 8-Bit in Renton. It's one of my favorite spots. And she is involved in various competitions, locally and nationally, which we will get into in a bit. Both are competitors and are ranked with the International Flipper Pinball Association, the IFPA. Ashley and Dwayne, welcome to Meet Me Here. I would like to know your pinball origin story. I want to know how you and pinball met each other. Ashley, you want to go first?
Sure. Let's see. It was Christmas of 2016. Jermaine Mariol, a local tournament director, was running a toy drive at 8-Bit Arcade. And I just was like, oh, charity. That's great. I'll meet some people. It was kind of new in town. I just got super hooked on the competitive aspect of it. The community also as well is great, but I kind of just got that like extreme bug for it, and I think I spent 3 months going to like every weekly tournament at 8-Bit after that.
Were you solely doing just tournaments, like not practicing, just jumping into the tournaments?
It started that way. I just, again, like the social aspect, meeting people, and eventually started kind of feeling like, oh, I should go practice. I should watch videos, get more into that.
What about you, John?
Well, when I first moved to Seattle in 2010, I used to hang out at this apartment building called the Rivoli, and we used to hang out there, and when we left, we would go over to Shorty's. So I started playing pinball at Shorty's, and then eventually that developed into hosting pinball tournaments, and that developed into playing on a pinball team, and eventually being captain of the pinball team, and now I'm just trying to be good like Ashley.
You guys get sucked in.
Who's one of the best.
I want to hear about your experience, because it's an experience I believe we all have. It's an experience I just explained with my coworkers, Jeannie and Katie, which is I will tell folks, pinball, it's a thing, it's a scene, and I will get this look back, a very curious look like, pinball? You mean that machine in the back of the bowling alley? Like, what are you talking about? So how do you explain this thriving community, people?
Well, a lot of people come to Seattle and they experience what they call the Seattle freeze. Me personally, I did not experience that because I got into the pinball community, and that eliminates the Seattle freeze because once you're in that, you have friends. You have people to hang out with. You have people to play pinball with all the time, or at least talk about pinball or figure out strategies and just, I don't know, live a pinball life pretty much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've lived in a few cities around the country, and I've met wonderful people in each one, but the pinball community is the first time that I joined a community and instantly felt comfortable with a large number of people and made good friends quicker than I really ever have in my life.
Like great friends.
Yeah.
Some almost family.
And you can, talk about pinball, but also talking about people that I call when I'm upset about life or
absolutely.
whatever. So I think the value in that is pretty huge.
The community that you guys kept talking about, what is that like for newcomers?
I think it's pretty welcoming. I mean, I think actually both Dwayne and I, out of all the tournaments in Seattle, the weekly tournaments, we run some of the more beginner-friendly tournaments that are really welcoming and warm, and you show up and you get paired against someone who's played in hundreds of pinball tournaments, and they're like, oh, do you have questions? Like, I'll tell you how to play the game. Like, let me know. Oh, yeah, that's an extra ball you can't play. I mean, I think it's really welcoming, and even if you go in and get destroyed for 3 games, I still see people having a good time.
And they come back.
Yes.
So I know that. So we know they had a good time because, like you said, Ashley, they come and get destroyed, lose 1, 2, 3, and they're out. But then they show up again next week, ready for more, and the week after that, and that's how we know that.
Get the bug.
Yeah, this is we're doing something right.
That's one thing I always tell folks, and maybe this is good for the listeners here too. I love pinball. I tell people I like pinball, but then there's this misconception that I am good at pinball, and that is 100% not true. I am not that great at pinball, but Dwayne, I keep coming back. I keep going back. I haven't played in a tournament yet, and I think both of you are turning me around on that. I might have to give that a try.
Yeah, absolutely. Come try them both.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, I will get destroyed, just like you said, but who knows?
Oh, you don't know that.
But I want to know for you personally, what does this pinball community mean to you? Not just, what your experience is, but like, what does it really mean to you? Dwayne, do you want to take that?
So I was playing in tournaments a little bit, but I learned about the Monday Night Pinball League, and my friends had asked me about joining that, and I wasn't interested in doing that. I was like, I'm not good enough. Come to find out, like during that time period, my mom got diagnosed with MS, so I, changed my thinking. I was like, you know what? I will do pinball. I will join this team, and I'll have a nice distraction from these other things in life that are going on, and it was perfect. It was a perfect connection. Like I was able to hone in on positivity for and be with my pinball cohorts or whatever. And then it was like it was a dark time, but pinball kind of brought the light.
Do you think it was the game itself, just bringing your brain in and do a different lane, or do you think it was the people?
It was the people, definitely. The game, no, not at all, because I'm not very good. I'm like you. I'll say 3 of us play pinball, but only one of us is really good at this table, and it's not me.
He's hinting over here at Ashley.
It's not a hint. She knows.
So what about you? What does this community mean to you, Ashley?
My Renton pinball family is everything to me. I'm also captain of a team, and my team is my family, and I love them. But I have to say, like, meeting people nationally, especially some of the women I've met from around the country and around the world, to me that's really cool because I'm going to a tournament in Canada next week, and I'm going to see at least 15, 20 women that I just love, and we're all going to, you lock eyes, and you're like, I haven't seen you in months, and it's just, to me, really special. I've kind of never had that in my life.
I think most people are familiar with the feeling you walk into a dive bar. You walk into any sort of social scene, and maybe it's a little intimidating. Maybe it's intimidating to talk to people. So if someone wanted to try pinball, what is the first step? How do they start with pinball? Dwayne, you want to try it?
I mean, you just need to go to a place that has pinball and pump some quarters in and just go to it. And then once you do that and you feel confident, you go to 8-Bit or you come to Jupiter and you find Ashley and myself and you say, hey, we want to play in your pinball tournament. Then you play in the pinball tournament and you get destroyed a couple of times, but you keep coming back. Then you may place. Next thing you know, you're looking to join a pinball team. And now all of a sudden pinball is your life.
Because you found family.
Because you found family. Because you found Ashley and myself.
Yeah, that's right.
And some others, Alex Singletary, Icebox, our friends at Adaball. We got a lot of friends around.
I mean, impossible to name them all.
It's impossible to name them all. But any of those places.
What do you say, Ashley?
I mean, man, Dwayne kind of captured it perfectly.
Yeah.
Come find Dwayne. Come find me. We'll get you set up with your first tournament.
Dwayne, I don't want to let this go because you told me one of the best tips that I have ever heard, and I just wanted I wondered if you wanted to share it with everybody. There is a pinball bus line that if you really want to do like a pin crawl like I do.
The pin crawl, yeah. It's the 40.
Yeah, the 40 bus line.
The 40 bus. It takes you, if you start in Ballard, it takes you by Olaf's. You go by Icebox. You go by 4Bs. You go by Adaball. You get to Belltown, and you have down there, you have Just a Tap, you have Shorty's, and of course you have Jupiter.
I mean, this is a great thing to do. Just like you got a Saturday, you got a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Hop on that 40 bus line.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's going to be my next pin crawl.
Let us know when you do it. We'd probably join you.
We'll join you.
Yeah.
Harass you while you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty. I've been talking with Dwayne Collins and Ashley Weaver. You can find Dwayne at Jupiter doing tournaments on which night?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And Ashley Weaver over at 8-Bit in Renton on which nights?
On Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays. Thank you both for chatting with Meet Me Here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That was a recent episode of KUOW's new podcast, Meet Me Here. You can hear more from them about local pop culture, books, and the arts in any podcast app. Just search Meet Me Here. This episode was produced by Matt Martin, edited by Jeannie Yandel, and hosted by Dyer Oxley. I'm Claire McGrain. Tanvin is back next week. We'll see you then.